I'm going to play a short clip from this film called The Great Global Warming Swindle, which challenges the position that it's human contributions to CO2 that cause climate change. I want you to think about what the key messages are in this clip about global warming and the role of anthropogenic human-caused CO2. And I also want you to take a look simultaneously about the kind of techniques that the filmmakers are using to communicate their messages.
Volcanoes produce more CO2 each year than all the factories and cars and planes and other sources of man-made carbon dioxide put together. More still comes from animals and bacteria, which produce about 150 gigatons of CO2 each year, compared to a mere 6.5 gigatons from humans. An even larger source of CO2 is dying vegetation, from falling leaves, for example, in the autumn. But the biggest source of CO2 by far is the oceans.
Okay, just a short clip. What are the key messages in that little 30 seconds that you saw about anthropogenic CO2? Anybody? What are the messages about the role of CO2 in climate change? Yeah,
a lot more CO2 gets put into the atmosphere from the natural world than what comes from humans. Like they said that a mere 6.2 gigatons comes from humans, whereas a bunch of other stuff came from.
Excellent. Anybody want to add to that? What's implied by that clip? Yeah, Josh.
The way it was animated and the human portion, it looked like it belonged there, and all the animals with all the big arrows coming up made them seem like it was out of place. Like, oh, trees, they're bad, they produce CO2. And that seemed a bit out of the ordinary to me.
Interesting. Anybody else? Francesca?
It also seemed to imply that the whole debate about humans contributing to global warming is like dramatized, yeah.
How did it do that? How did the film do that?
Well, it started by offering statistical comparisons between the amount of CO2 that humans put into the air and other animals and stuff like that. And I mean, I don't agree with this filmmaker's perspective personally, but they did a good job in like comparing the two in a light that made it seem that humans weren't contributing very much.
Terrific. Francesca?
I think what really made it seem so I guess trivializing to the perspective of global warming being predominantly pushed because of humans and their CO2 is just the fact that the video was made in such a childish manner that it just made it, once again, trivialized. It made it just seem like the idea of humans contributing predominantly to global warming is just like so childish and just such a simple way of looking at things, because obviously other things create more.
Also,
sorry.
Well, what I think is interesting is actually our reactions to it, because I think we all have a lot of opinions on this topic, so we think that our opinion is the right opinion. So as soon as we see something challenging that, we're going to immediately start to kind of say that it's propaganda or start disregarding it. And I think we could do that for a video that's, you know, an inconvenient truth, which is supporting our opinion mainly. And we could look at that and start calling that propaganda as well. And I mean, personally, I really dislike this video. I think that there's a lot of lies, but I think that what the immediate thing that comes to my mind is, okay, who made this? What is their purpose for making this? What are my own biases, and how is that informing my opinion of this video?
Okay, so I heard a bunch of things in there. You immediately went to some questions about who made this, what's their point of view, and what's behind that. But simultaneously, Alana, I hear you saying, but there's my own biases that I apply that makes me critique this in a way that I might not critique something like an inconvenient truth that agrees more with my own bias. The next film clip I'm going to show you is from an inconvenient truth, and we will take a look at that as well, asking those questions about how much do we skew information to fit our own thoughts. So is there truth to this or not? How would we find out about these claims that were made in that short little video clip? Where would we go to find out that information? Where would we go to find out about who's behind this video clip? So these are all important research questions for you. I'm going to move on to the chart that you have in front of you. And this is information from the SOCCR report from the U.S. Climate Change Science Program from 07 about natural or versus human anthropogenic CO2 in the atmosphere. I want you to take a look at the statistics here, and I want you to compare them to what you saw in the video and see if anything jumps out at you as discrepancies between them. Yes, Brett.
The biggest discrepancy I see is in the video they said that volcanoes release more CO2 than humans do.
Yes.
And based on this chart, that's very incorrect.
People see that? Yeah, Luciano.
One of the things I see is that in most of the big ones like vegetation and oceans, it shows how much goes back into the ecosystem versus like with humans. So it balances itself out. It's actually, I think, negative. The amount of
Or close to an equilibrium,
Right.
balance.
and with the humans and volcanoes, it actually doesn't
Is that significant?
come back. That sounds very significant because it evens itself out.
Although the number is very small compared to all those other numbers. So why would that make a difference? If there's just a little bit that humans are adding, a little bit of CO2 that they're adding to the atmosphere, why would that make a difference? Yeah, Brett.
Because there's no flow backwards.
It's just a
There's
little
no
bit.
equilibrium
It's the-
force.
It's the cycle, and I think the video that we just watched, those numbers seem to be fairly correct, except for maybe the volcano number.
Yes.
But talking about all of the CO2 that oceans are releasing into the air, but it didn't into the atmosphere, but it didn't talk about all of the CO2 that oceans are taking back, and it didn't talk about that cycle. And so what's happening is that humans are releasing 6.4 units in gigatons
Gigatons.
of carbons. Yeah. And we're not taking anything back, and we're not taking part in that cycle, which means we're completely throwing off the equilibrium.
Right. If that's true, what you guys are saying, why might the film distort information or leave out key information, understanding in this film clip?
Well, in order to prove their point,
Which is?
that anthropogenic carbon releasing is contributing more to global warming than, or the opposite.
The opposite,
Isn't contributing as much to global warming as natural carbon.
So we have some discrepancies here, just the volcanoes alone. How would you find out, which one of these sources would you trust? The Great Global Warming Swindle or the soccer report? Which one would you trust and why?
Probably this.
Why?
The other
Which is this, the chart?
Yeah, this chart.
Why?
The video seemed kind of more political to me because you're not going to show that video, especially based on like the animation and the guy with the accent and stuff like that. Like you're not going to show that to like the big higher ups who are going to be making final decisions on this. You put that on YouTube so that people click on it when they're researching all their other stuff and randomly click on it and see all these big facts and like large arrows and stuff and sort of are won over to your side and are going to sort of show public support for your side that you can then take to higher up powers. But this is sort of more, it doesn't seem like it's trying to gain opinion either way, and it probably is in some way, but it's not as obvious. It seems like the facts are a little bit, I mean, like the fact that it's simply in black and white even is like, there's not as much distraction to it.
How do you know they're not doing that to make it look more scientific?
I
and
honestly have
credible?
no idea. For all I know, they're
Right.
trying to mess with my brain. It's very possible.
Josh,
Also in the video clip, they use the word swindle, which seems very biased to me. And on this information, they show both sides, the intake as well as the production. But in the clip, they only show the production, like people have been saying. So that makes me think that this shows both sides of the argument. And
So you're thinking critically about, the construction of each of these. But can you know from the things I've shown you which one's more credible or not, Alana?
No, I think you need more information.
And what's the information you need to have to really delve into the issue of credibility?
Who these people are, what their purpose is, because if their purpose is
Which people?
the people who are creating or putting out the video and these statistics,
Who they are, what their purpose is. Keep going.
how they're getting their information.
Yes. Yeah, anything else to add? Brett?
How they're getting their funding,
Why is that significant?
because the money basically controls it. So,
What do you mean?
say the group that made the global warming Swindle video, if they were getting their money from, say, like an oil company, then they'd probably have to portray a bias of the oil company.